Oh, we just had that big election.
Election.
Yeah.
It was.
You know what I didn't realize? So after 2016, I kind of made myself numb to politics because one, I didn't want to alienate everybody that I knew. You know what I mean? Everybody picked a side or they had these fucking opinions that
After
I don't
what date?
get. After what?
After what date?
After 2016, that election. Yeah, when they burned our boy Bernie.
Yep.
Burned our boy Bernie.
Yep.
I was just kind of fucking all set. You know? I didn't trust any of them. I didn't trust Trump to do anything good. I didn't fucking believe in the democratic process of the Democratic Party because I just knew that they had fucked them. When you're looking at the news and, you know, there's 37 people in a gymnasium for Hillary Clinton and there's fucking, we go to a rally with, what, how many people were there? 30,000 people?
Yeah, there was so many people. We went to a couple of them.
We did. That one that one when I got out of jail will be revealed.
That's right, I forgot.
When we went to the one at the Commons, it was wild,
Yeah.
man. That was just wild.
Yeah, that was insane. We went with Mike.
That was the first one that we went to. That was 2016. The one when we went to the Commons was 2020.
Right. That's right, it was. It was the second time.
It was his second time he ran.
Yeah, still had hope.
Yeah,
still had.
I like that he acknowledged because he was not, you know, to sound stupid, but he kind of punked out when they fucking screwed him over. Like he didn't acknowledge it, but when they lost to Trump this time, he came out and was like, "You lost to Trump. You lost when you chose corporate interests over, you know, the middle class."
Which I'm happy to see him do it, but it just feels like
It's
too little, too late.
I know it sucks. It sucks because God only knows what will actually get done. You know, that helps the middle class.
When they burned him in 2016, I didn't vote, but I was rooting for Trump because I bought into the idea that he was going to burn it all down. And like after that, like seeing like, okay, this is how politics really works. Like the first time I was ever really interested in it, seeing how politics really works, I was like, oh, like you're like, it's a threat that he's going to burn this down to the ground. I was like, go have at it.
Right.
So, you know, that was kind of my thought process. Not willing to actually go out and vote for him, but that was like, you know, and then that was just a massive disappointment.
Oh, of course.
I remember burn anything down.
No, I remember thinking that too. And it was because mostly if I talk about politics, it's with you because we can have like a real civil discourse and both realizing that we're all fucked.
Yeah. And disagree and not.
Right. Plus, I don't not paying attention as much anymore. People will say something and I'll have fucking no idea if they're telling the truth or they're making a good point. I don't want to even be involved in it. Yeah. But I remember in 2016 being like, after having acceptance, because at the time, I mean, I was like everybody else. It's like, oh, what does America come to? Oh no, you know. I bought into that, and I'm thinking, well, you know what? Maybe this is the bottom that America needs to fucking turn it around. Maybe he's the rock bottom that we need, and he just, I don't know. He was ineffective at best.
He was a lot more the same with the rhetoric. Like
right.
So he knew what to say to piss off the left, which the right loved, but it was really just more of the same.
Yeah.
You know, if anything, I would say his presidency was probably close to like a Clinton's presidency, but with just like what he accomplished for his party and then what he accomplished that like he wasn't for his party.
Right.
You know, so like I mean, Roe v. Wade, that was huge for his party. Like they've been waiting to do that for a long time. But then there were some other things like that he kind of like brought the right along begrudgingly, but it's more right and left policy things tend to be like whoever grabs onto a policy first, the other side just knee jerk hates it.
Yeah.
So, but like, and there were some instances with Obama too, where Obama did things that the right said that they wanted, but as soon as Obama did it, the right hated it, and the left who hated it when the right wanted it, all of a sudden cheered it.
Yeah.
So it was, you know, and the same thing happened with Trump. Trump did some things that were kind of like on the checklist of progressives, but because Trump did it, they had to hate it now. So
it's so wild how that is.
Yeah.
Like the whole concept of, I mean, I got into politics, like got into it. I was a terrible child. I didn't give a shit. Like there was no college, there was no fighting the man or anything like that. I got into it because my friends that didn't die of drug overdose went to war and died, came back one fucking leg, whatever.
Yeah.
That was my generation, my generation. But like our generation, I forget we're the same age, pretty
Yeah,
much.
pretty much.
But so I got into it around 2008. Hate fucking Bush. Like, was that 9/11 a setup? Fucking, we didn't have knowing we didn't have to go to Iraq and all that shit. And I got in there. I believed the hype. I mean, I wasn't. I was a naive. Let's see, 2004. I was 24. I was a naive 24-year-old. I was fucking addicted to drugs. I was a criminal, and I still had political opinions. That's what's wrong with us. Is we all just can't base our identity on our political opinions when we're fucking human and we're stupid. Not for nothing, you know what I mean? But that's the truth is like all of this is opinions. Because if you look at it, like how easy it was for Trump to get back into office, part of me thinks, and they get a little help with this thought, like, is he just a plant too? Like, is he, because again, is it just more of the same? But they make him out to be such a bad guy that it still conflicts everybody, and he can be a hero to some people, but again, we'll still just move backwards, and the divide will continue to grow. We'll see.
I think,
but,
honestly, I think that gives Trump too much credit.
To be able to pull that off. But that's the thing, though. Like, he's an egomaniac. He's all these things. Like, what if he was playing a role on The Apprentice?
Yeah,
and then he just continues to play that role.
But planted by who?
I don't.
Not
fucking
the Republicans.
know.
They fucking hated him.
Right.
And like, I mean, maybe Hillary Clinton. Like, there's an argument to be made that the Clintons came up with the whole Trump thing and boosted him up, and they actually did. In 2015, leading into 16, they were boosting Trump up because they wanted him to win because they thought he'd be easy to beat. I mean, that turned out to be a very bad play, but that was, I mean, that's the closest thing I come to as far as like a conspiracy. But it's like true. Like you can look at some of the old ads and they like the Hillary camp and the Clinton like just political machine all wanted Trump to win because they thought he was going to be easy to beat. Because like, dude, you can't get away. You can't say shit like that when you're in front of all those people until you could. Yeah, until you could. Well, actually, you still can. Only Trump can get away with saying the things that he gets away with saying.
Most of them, yeah, that's true. Not for nothing. He says some shit that's fucking. I'm like, oh.
That's part of his appeal, though. It's just who he is. People accept Trump for who he is, and I think that's. I think that's where, like, I'm not pro-Trump, I'm not anti-Trump. I see Trump for who he is. He's, like you said, an egomaniac. His number one priority is not what's best for the country. It's what's best for him, and if that also ends up helping the country, then he's, like, happy about that, I think, genuinely. But it's me first.
Right.
There's, I don't think he sees himself that way, but that's how he operates.
I mean, I'll be honest, I was very anti-Trump in 2016. When I stayed up and watched the election results, I was one of those people who was like, what's going to fucking happen to America now? But I was also very confused, and to be completely honest, I still am when it comes to this stuff because what we've been told about him, everything you hear, there's some truth to it, but then it's blown out of proportion exorbitantly. Am I using that word right?
Yeah, I think so.
GED,
it sounds
baby.
Right. It sounds
GED,
good.
baby. GED. The proper fucking gander, man. The propaganda. Like, so I can't be anti-Trump just because of propaganda. Like, I put that into factor, and so, like, I don't know what to believe. But I believed he was the lesser of two evils, because when they skipped the primary, like, what the fuck is that about? Like, they skipped the primary and then, started running again, like, not for nothing. They basically tried to steal his campaign. Like, they immediately started calling him old.
Yeah.
What the fuck? Like, they've been talking about how great Joe Biden was, and then, on Tuesday he's the man, on Thursday
Yeah.
he's too old, and,
Yeah.
Friday
Trump's old
morning,
too,
Friday
like-
morning Trump's too old.
Yeah.
Like, it was a wild circus, and I'm not pretending to be on the Mensa team,
Yeah.
but like fucking, like, you could see through that bullshit, At least I could. And that's what frustrates me the most, is why I won't talk to people about politics. Most people, is because, like, they'll hit me with the propaganda, and I'm just like,
That's
fuck off.
It's so like that kind of like there's a lot of like hand wringing and pearl clutching over like how does somebody go from being like so adamantly pro Bernie Sanders, to voting for Trump. And I didn't vote for him in 2016, but I did vote for him in 2020. And my calculation was like super simple, and I've never seen anyone talk about it. But I think like a lot of people are just, the average person out there is just like, can see what's going on, you can understand it, and if you don't have an option to do something big and significant like a Bernie Sanders would do,
Right.
potentially, or like an Andrew Yang or a Tulsi Gabbard, like I could have got behind any of those people, and I think they all had like unique ideas and things that they brought to the table that would shake things up, but primarily almost all of them were like recognize the problem with corporations involved in politics the way that
Right.
they are. Money in politics as a massive problem to being able to do anything. And I think a lot of them understood that, and they had their own potential solutions to it. But I think that like when my calculation for voting for Trump in 2020 was, one, Trump wasn't as bad as everybody said he was. Like he wasn't this awful thing. And then Bernie getting pushed out again, it was clear that there was still a massive problem in the Democratic Party.
Yep.
But how I saw it was, okay, we either have four, like it's only 4 more with Trump, so it's 4 years and then we get to try again. Or with Biden, and I didn't realize he would decline so fast, but with Biden, we'll have another 8 with Biden. Or worst case scenario, we have a 4-year rematch, Biden versus Trump, and then Trump gets back in, and then that it just extends out the suffering more. If Trump would have won in 2020, we would be on to a new chapter
Right.
next year, as opposed to another 4 with Trump.
Right.
But that's why if I would have voted this time, I would have voted for Trump, because it's only 4 with Trump. There's a threat of 8 with Kamala, and it's just but with no change. It's just the same shit.
It's the same shit. Yeah.
So it's just a timing. It's a timing calculation of like, okay, when are we going to get to try again? And not for nothing, I like to see the Democratic Party punished, because all right,
not to be petty, but burn it down.
not to be a sore loser. Or anything.
Yeah, burn it down.
But
all of it.
But them getting away, like winning with Kamala, oh, we were right all along, and blah blah blah, would have just been terrible for the Democratic Party, I think. And also